We all like to believe that we're in the driver's seat of our own lives. But what if there are these hidden forces, pulling the strings, influencing our choices without us even realizing it? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on those forces and figure out how to take back the wheel for good. So, let me just ask you, straight up, are the choices you're making, like right now, today, are they really, truly yours? It's kind of an unsettling question, I know, but actually sitting with it, that's where the real change begins.
Because the reality is, we are constantly being nudged, pushed, and pulled in different directions. From the people we hang out with, to the unspoken rules we follow, to the very environment we live in. These unseen forces are silently steering our behavior, and a lot of the time, we don't even have a clue it's happening. And that brings us to a fundamental and maybe humbling truth. We're just not as independent as we like to think. Now, this isn't about being powerless, not at all. It's about being honest. And just admitting this to yourself, that's the first and honestly the most powerful step toward genuine independence. Okay, so if we're not as independent as we believe, then how does all this influence actually work? See, it's not some kind of forceful takeover. It's way more subtle. It's like a silent handover, a quiet, gradual process where we slowly, piece by piece, give away our own control. So that begs the question, who is actually in control? Well, the answer isn't some shadowy figure pulling the strings from behind a curtain. The truth is, control is rarely taken from us, it's given away. Every single time we just go with the flow without thinking, or accept a headline without a single question, we're handing over a little piece of our own mind. And there's a pretty clear path this usually follows. It's a simple 3-step process. First, an idea gets repeated over and over until it just feels familiar. Then, our social group validates it, which makes it feel safe and right. And then, boom, before we even know what happened, that outside idea has settled in and replaced our own original thought. It's unconscious acceptance. And the reason this works so incredibly well is because it hijacks our own brain's wiring. I mean, our brains evolved to seek validation and to save energy. It's easier to agree with the crowd than it is to stand alone and think for yourself. It's a mental shortcut, sure, but it's a shortcut that can lead us way off our own path. So this really leaves us with 2 clear ways to operate. We can be a follower, just accepting information, following the well-worn patterns, always looking for that validation. Or we can choose to be a thinker, questioning information, being willing to break patterns, and seeking real, genuine understanding, even when it's the harder path. So how do we make that switch? How do we become a thinker? Well, it all kicks off with the power of awareness. This is the single most important tool we have to interrupt that automatic cycle of influence and start breaking that unconscious pattern. So what does awareness actually do for us? It creates a pause. Just a tiny moment of space between an impulse and your action. And in that little gap, that is where you find your choice. That gap is where your real control actually lives. And you create that gap by starting to ask yourself a few simple but powerful questions. Start with the most basic one. Why do I believe this? Don't just accept a belief as a given. Get curious about it. Investigate it. Next, you've got to trace it back to its source. Ask yourself, where did this idea even come from? Did I read it somewhere? Hear it from a friend? Did I just see it trending online? When you understand where an idea comes from, you gain power over it. And finally, here's the knockout question. Is this thing I believe based on actual fact, or is it just something I've heard a million times? Answering that question honestly can dismantle years and years of unconscious conditioning just like that. You see, this completely reframes what we think of as freedom. Real freedom isn't about doing whatever you feel like in the moment. It's about having a sovereign mind. In a world that is screaming at you, trying to think for you, thinking for yourself might just be the ultimate act of liberation. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Awareness by itself is not enough. We can know we're being influenced, we can know exactly what to do about it, and still fall right back into the old patterns. Why? Because there's another force at play, and frankly, it's often more powerful. And that force is habit. I mean, just look at the difference here. Knowledge takes real effort, but habit, that's automatic. Knowledge is deep thinking. Habit is a shortcut. And in a head-to-head battle between the two, habit wins almost every single time. Your brain will always prefer the easy road unless you actively, intentionally force it onto a new one. And that is exactly where discipline comes in. And look, discipline isn't some big, scary idea. It's just an active, daily practice. It's the simple power to pause before you react, the power to think for a second before you agree, to step back when everyone else is rushing forward, and to consciously resist what's easy and convenient. This really flips the whole idea of control on its head. It's not about building some giant wall around yourself to block out the world. No, it's about becoming a conscious filter, an intentional gatekeeper for your own mind. You get to decide what information and which influences are actually worthy of your attention. And that brings us to the ultimate goal here. Because when you combine that awareness with real discipline, you don't just resist influence anymore, you start to build the entire architecture for making conscious choices. You become a true decision maker. Let's be really clear about this. Escaping influence is totally impossible. And honestly, it was never the goal anyway. The real goal is to stop being a passive recipient and to become an active architect, to consciously and deliberately choose the people, the ideas, and the information that you allow to shape you. And when you really get down to it, it all boils down to this one simple idea. Focus is power. It's your most valuable currency, because where you place your attention, well, that's where your life is going to go. You control your focus, you control your future. Simple as that. So at the end of the day, this leaves us with two fundamentally different ways to live. There's unconscious living, which is all about scattered focus, autopilot reactions, and a life that is ultimately shaped by the system. And then there's conscious choice, intentional focus, deliberate direction, and a life that is shaped by you. And that right there, that is the payoff. This is the transformation we're talking about. You stop being just another cog, another automatic reaction in the grand system, and you start becoming an active, thoughtful, and powerful decision maker within it. And that is a rare and profound shift. So we'll leave you with this question. Your life isn't ultimately shaped by all those external forces out there. It's shaped by what you consciously allow in. You now understand the architecture of choice. The only question left is, what are you going to